Yeah, good afternoon. So we continue with economics. Today's topic is government intervention. So when we talk about government intervention, it simply means government involvement. What do I say? Government involvement. So that means there's a problem one way or the other in the market that government needs to be involved. So if government is involved, involved, it will be able to solve the problem. So government intervention means government involvement. I think it's clear. Please. Thank you. The need for government intervention. So without government intervention, some businesses might neglect the needs of certain stakeholders. So let's quickly work on this. Who are stakeholders? Stakeholders are a group of people that have interest one way or the other, directly or indirectly, in our business activity. So stakeholders are a group of people with direct or indirect interest in the business activity. So these stakeholders, one way or the other, they have interest in what we do. So examples of stakeholders are the employees, they are stakeholder. The owners of the business are also stakeholders. Government stakeholder. Customers are stakeholder. The environment, the community stakeholder. The banks are stakeholder. The creditors, they are stakeholders. So directly or indirectly, they have impact. They have link to what we do. They have relationship with what we do. So if government is not intervening, if government is not involved, these stakeholders might be vulnerable. That is why they said, if government is not intervening, some business might neglect the needs of certain stakeholders. So because government is not involved, you might not care about the stakeholders. That means you are not socially responsible. What do I say? Social responsibility as socially responsible. What does this imply? Social responsibility means you as a business, all your decisions takes more of stakeholders than shareholders. So whatever decision you take in your business, you think more of the stakeholders, not only the shareholders. Do you get the point here? Shareholders are investors. They need returns. Yes? Are you guys getting what I'm saying? Yes. Shareholders are investors in your company, so they need returns, which is dividends. But if you think about them, if everything you do in your business is just to make returns for your shareholders, that means you are not socially responsible. You are socially responsible if decisions you take in the business involves or evolve around all stakeholders. That means you are socially responsible. So most of the time, businesses don't care. They don't care about the needs of stakeholders. They only want to care about the owners of the business. So with government involvement, government will mandate them. Government will come up with different laws, legislation to make sure stakeholders' interests are protected. Do we get it? Yeah. Any question up to now? So that's all about all they've said here. It said, however, it is important for the government to find the right balance. Too much intervention will discourage enterprise and reduce foreign investment. Yes, normally government has to be involved to solve this problem of lack of interest on stakeholders. But government should also have to check and balance. Government must balance this. If not, businesses, investors, foreign investors, they will feel government is taking too much, is making too much decision, that they are not independent. It's their business. So government involvement should be minimal. Government should not decide what we do with our business, how we deal in our business. But government is important. So the answer they said, government must what? Find the right balance. Government must check and balance situation. Government must know the right time to take decision or to take rules or laws into their hands. Government should also think about those investors because they put their money into it. If not, a lot of businesses will leave your country if they feel government intervention is too much for them to bear. Do we get it?
Yes.
Any question about the need for government intervention here. Government needs to be involved to solve the market failure. That is why government is involved. Government needs to be involved so that stakeholders will not be vulnerable. But government must not be too much involved in these things, because if government involvement is too much for investors, for entrepreneurs, they would leave your country. And you know what happens after that? Unemployment will rise, output will fall. Is it clear? Yeah. Any questions about that? No. We'll move on, please. Did you take the picture already? Okay, thank you. Government intervention to deal with externalities. What are externalities? These are external costs to the third person. They are externalities. It could be, they are spillovers. We call them spillovers. That means one decision or one action of yours has led to someone becoming more beneficial or someone becoming worse off. Decision you take is affecting me. That's an externality. That's a negative externality. Decision you take is making a positive impact in me. That is positive externality. Either ways, they are both spillovers. Do you understand what spillover is? Spill. So someone's decision, a business decision, an individual's decision, a government decision has become a problem to third party. That is externalities. Is it clear? Yeah. So here they said, okay, they said, let me see what we can talk about. Yeah, this negative impact of the environment. Okay, they said, if there's a clear 200, okay, provide more gas manner. Yeah, they said negative impacts to the environment. That is external cost. You know, I said here we have externalities means external cost, right? I said that, right? Yeah. External cost or external benefits. Thank you. If it is positive, if the action the business took, if the action governments took, if the action individuals take is becoming beneficial to the society or to the third party, it is external benefit. If your action is becoming a problem to me, external cost. Both are what? Externalities. Clear, right? Is it clear? Yeah. Alright, great. So, that's all about here. That's all about here. The first paragraph is talking about external cost, and the second one is talking about external benefits, which I just explained now. External cost. Cost to the third party. Benefits to the third party. That's your action or inaction that becomes beneficial to us. Your action or inaction that becomes a problem to us. Clear, right? Clear, right? Yes. So we move on. Government regulation of competition. So, there's competition. Without competition, businesses will be able to, will become vulnerable to businesses. That's why government is involved. Without competition, if there is no competitiveness in the market is more like monopoly. They charge prices that they like. Customers will not have any other choice than to buy. Customers will lack deep knowledge about the product or service. I think that is clear. We won't be able to compare and contrast. These are what it is. These are the problems we have whenever competitiveness is not in the market. So here they said promoting competition. One of the goals of government in the economy is to promote competition and prevent anti-competitive practices. All I have said now will ensure that the society or consumers are not vulnerable. So it is the role of government to come up with ways in which competitiveness will be promoted in the society. That's why they said they have to prevent anti-competitive practices. Monopoly. Yeah. So government, not only monopoly, it could be price fixing. Oh. It could be cartel. So whatever that will make customers to become vulnerable, government must ensure that it stops it. Those are what we call anti-competitive practices. So government will promote competitiveness and reject anti-competitive practices by firms. So this is government involvement, this is government intervention. Government will come in with regulations, laws that would make everybody, that will make everyone have equal opportunity in the market. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
So when we talk about anti-competitive practices, these are ways or methods which businesses come together to make customers become vulnerable. They try to come up with different barriers that will stop you from being part of the industry. These are what we call anti-competitive practices. Do we get anti-competitive practices here?
Yeah.
Ways, methods, businesses will try to create barriers into that industry. Any questions about that? What?
No competitors.
Yeah, they don't want competitors. That is, they will create a barrier. They don't want, that's why we call it anti-competitive practice. They don't want competitors. And without competitors, we are vulnerable. Is it clear?
Yes.
So how do government come up with to encourage competitiveness in the market? Number one, encourage the growth of small firms. So the first thing government will do is to check on the smaller firms, the small businesses. Because they are small businesses, they don't have the financial capability, they don't have the resources to compete with large firms. That is why, with large firms, they could come together and take away those small firms in the market. Do you get the point here? So government, to encourage competitiveness, government will encourage the growth of small firms. How will government do this? Government can finance them. Government will subsidize for them. Government will soften their taxes so that they can grow. You know, as soon as they grow, they will be able to compete with those large firms that are dictating the market. Government wants equal opportunity for all businesses. But because you are a small business, you don't have that financial background capacity to compete with the large firm. And this makes you vulnerable to them. So whatever they do is what happens. There's nothing you could do about it. They will charge a very low price. They would use predatory pricing to kick you out of the industry. Because you are their competitors. You are competing with them. In as much as you are selling the same product or almost the same product, you are competing with them. They will find a way to make sure you are out of that industry. That's an anti-competitive practice. So what government knows this. So the only way government could stop it is to encourage you as a small firm to also become big so that you can compete with them. So encourage the growth of, if more small firms are encouraged to join markets, there will be more competition. In some countries, yeah, whatever it is. That is the point. The government will encourage small firms to join the industry. But how is it going to be possible? By financing them, subsidizing for them, softening laws that would allow them to be part of the industry. Do you understand the element of growth now? The second one, lower barriers to entry. If barriers are lower than removed, then more firms will join the market, making it more competitive. There are barriers to entry. So if these barriers are taken away or reduced, that means there's open door for firms to come into the industry. Do you get the point? There are barriers. It could be labor supply. It could be advertisement. It could be anything. But if government can find a way around it to reduce these barriers or take them away, it opens door for all industries to come into, or for all businesses to come into the industry, and they become more competitive. Is it clear?
Yes.
The third one. Yeah, thank you. Introduce anti-competitive legislation. So you come up with different laws that would go against anti-competitiveness. One, eliminate practices that reduce competition. Whatever you put together, whatever things you do as large firms, that is allowing smaller firms to go down, they stop you from doing it. Example, government might stop, you might think of merging, coming together. Not even cartel now. You might think of coming together to become one. You know, as soon as you become one, you become so stronger. Government might not allow you to merge if it's going to be against competitiveness. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying there?
Mm-hmm.
To promote and sustain competition in markets, government will come up with, government will enlighten people. Government will enlighten people the importance of being part of that industry. So government will tell you the importance of being part of that industry. Government will tell you the importance of investing in such industry. The third one, protect the interest of consumers. Consumers are kingpin of the business. Without the consumers, we are not selling. Yes or no?
Yes.
So government will make sure that there are different consumer protection acts or consumer protection laws that will protect consumers from businesses that want to make them to become vulnerable. Ensure freedom of trade, free flow of trade. Because without freedom of trade, then there's a problem. So what is trade? Interaction between buying and selling. So government will allow it, government will come up with, maybe government will reduce laws that restrict trade. So by then, it makes trade to flow. People will be able to buy and sell. So these are ways in which government comes up with different ways of stopping anti-competitiveness in the industry. Any questions about it? Claire, do you want to try something? Okay. Limit monopoly power, yes. Monopoly is anti-competitiveness. Monopoly is a market structure with just one individual or one firm producing whatever we need to buy. That is lack of competition. So government will limit it. Government will reduce it. Do you get the point here? They said if monopolies exist in markets, they need to be carefully monitored. Without government intervention, the temptation to exploit consumers may be too great for some organizations. Monopolies, we know them already. They are only there to supply us whatever we need. They are the only ones supplying in the market. So government must monitor what they do. If not, customers become vulnerable to them. Do you get the point?
Yeah.
Government will not stop them. There are some business activities that government cannot stop because of how they operate. But government needs to monitor them. Government needs to check them. That's why they said limit monopoly power. Government is not eliminating monopoly because there are some businesses that need monopoly.
They're limiting their power.
Their power. Government will monitor how they operate to check their excesses. Is it clear? Any questions about that? We'll move on. About this, right? Thank you. I will check. Government check the excesses of monopolists so that customers are not vulnerable. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Shall we move on? Protect consumer interest. That's another way in which government would try to reduce or improve competitiveness or reduce anti-competitive practices. So consumer interest now. For consumers, we already know what consumers, who consumers are. I said they are what? Kingpin. They are the kingpin of any business. These are consumers. We consumers, what do we want? We want quality product at an affordable price. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So, let's see what they said here. Consumers want to buy good quality product at a fair price and receive good customer service. They want information about products that is accurate and clear. They do not want to buy goods that may be dangerous, overpriced, or sold to them on the grounds of false claims. Without government intervention, some firms may exploit consumers by using anti-competitive practices. For consumers, there are 4 things consumers want. They want good customer service. They want fair prices or affordable prices. They want quality, and they want to know knowledge, they want information about what they are buying. They don't want asymmetric, they want symmetric information. They want to know, they want deep information about what they are buying. And the only way they could get more information about what they buy is when they are able to compare product A and product B. Are you here?
Mm-hmm.
So, if government is not involved, these things are not possible. Because these things make businesses to make more money. Do you get the point?
Yeah.
All anti-competitive practices allow businesses to generate more profits. But to stop them, government must be involved. That is consumer interest. These are consumer interest. Information about the product, fair price, quality product, good customer service. They don't want to buy dangerous product. They don't want to buy on a false claim. So these are all consumers' interests. So the only institution that can protect consumer interest is government. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So these are different. You have a question? These are different ways in which governments stop or reduce anti-competitive practices. They protect consumer interest. They encourage the growth of small firms.
Mm-hmm.
Do we get it?
Mm-hmm.
They come up with rules and regulations that would reduce anti-competitiveness. Consumer rights.
Reduce
Anti-competitiveness, yes.
But so what happens if a monopolist does not follow legislation of the government?
No, you can't. Then you start having different court case with government.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of it, you are banned, you're stopped. They stop you from operations. You can't win government. You want to say something? Government also limits the power of monopolists. These are ways to reduce anti-competitiveness and encourage